wanting to get with that company or that individual I've heard about. And then afterwards you can network and perhaps either do business with them, something that you may need or want, or maybe you have something that they may need or want. But most importantly right now, we live in a beautiful country. It's called America, for those that may not be aware. America is absolutely beautiful, and I'd like to have everyone stand and let's do the Pledge of Allegiance, the best 31 words ever assembled, and our flag is right over here. Ready? Begin. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. You guys did really good. So like I said, as part of our program today, and any program that the Chamber does, we want to make sure that you get something in return. And so here's an opportunity for you to share with everyone your name and your business. And then later on, as you start to visit with folks, by all means, just, corner them afterwards, talk with them, just find out a little bit more about them. We're going to start with Dino, and we're going to ask you to rise and then face the crowd and use the microphone.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Dino, like the Flintstones, and I'm with Annual Profit Strategies. Pleased to meet you.
Good morning, everyone. Asha Zaragoza, City of Corona Economic Development Administrator. Great to see you all today.
Good morning, Palvinder Padesha, Express Employment Professionals and Chamber Board of Directors. Thank you.
Good morning, my name is Katie Moore and I'm with ABC Hopes.
Good morning, Rebecca Spiegel with ABC Hopes.
Good morning, Joe Diaz with Primerica. Good to meet you.
Nancy Cody with the Big Deal Solar. Best deals are the big deal.
Lane Tucker with Diamond Lead Transportation.
Guido Totaro with Pampa Empanadas.
Good morning, JP with EFI Insurance.
Good morning, I'm Buzz, as in Lightyear. And I am retired, but currently serving as a volunteer pastor for Bedford Community Church.
Yeah, Lary Townson, I own Townson Productions. You're going to get sick of hearing me later, so I'll just make it quick.
Good morning, I'm Desiree Ramirez, Vice President of the Corona Chamber of Commerce.
Robert Yanez, Corona Chamber of Commerce Membership Development.
Carly Nault, John's Movers.
Tammy Harwick with the Corona Chamber as the Sponsorship and Marketing Specialist.
Good morning, Joe Ciancio. I'm a volunteer with the Riverside court system in small claims court, and I'm also a volunteer with the city in the homeless division.
Very cool.
Good morning, I'm Dale Sarver. I'm a mentor with SCORE.
Anthony Maldonado, Programs Coordinator here at the Corona Chamber.
Well, give yourselves a round of applause. You did really good. We did that all in about 2 minutes, so that's awesome. So at the end of the presentation today, be sure, and maybe you've zoned in on someone that you would like to maybe get to know a little bit better. Pass out your business card at that time and meet with them. But for the next 45 minutes or so, we want your attention focused here. And I've already silenced my cell phone. I would encourage any of you to do the same thing at this time. But as you got your cell phone out, let's go ahead and get social and hashtag Corona Chamber and hashtag Corona Rocks. And this is being shown live on Facebook. So we hope that the people on Facebook will be able to engage and maybe get to know you guys as well. In front of you, you have the May-June issue of our Corona Business News. That is a publication that we print and mail out to many businesses. If you would like to perhaps advertise or promote something in the next issue, please see either Tammy or Robert, and they can assist you in those areas. We have an organic waste recycling seminar this Thursday. This is in partnership with the City of Corona. It is basically matching up with the SB 1383, organic waste recycling. And there's going to be a lot of information. This is not just for homes, and it's not just for businesses, it's for everyone. And Waste Management, along with the City of Corona, are going to explain the different processes and stuff. So it is a free seminar to attend, and we would love for you to be here. It is it'll be about 90 minutes or so. And if you want to register, you can feel free to register. The bit.ly is right there on the screen. Waste Recycling 22. Today's speaker is going to share a little bit about gunshot wounds and about stabbings and the importance to take care of things as soon as someone has been shot or wounded. We have something that we feel very important, and again, a partnership with the City of Corona and the Corona Police Department. It is a special active shooter response training. It is a 2-hour program, and it will be here at 7 a.m. on May 16th. That's a week from now, and we would encourage you all to attend. Seats are limited. We do have, this is kind of a highly requested program, so we would suggest that you go ahead and register, and that bit.ly is on the screen there as response training. And then the following week, we have a week from this Friday is our Good Morning Corona breakfast, and that is May 20th. We'll be welcoming 3 candidates that are seeking to serve as that newly drawn 63rd District of the State Assembly. They will be given a brief candidate statement, and then they'll be answering questions. It's real important for the business community to be engaged and to get to know who the different elected officials are or people that are seeking to serve you. We want to make sure what the chamber does, we do not endorse candidates, but what we do is we bring the candidates to you so you can make the informed decision. It's an excellent opportunity for building business relationships as well, for you to learn more about the political arena and what is going on in the state of California. For registration or more information, the bit.ly is GMC May 2022. At this time, I'm really privileged and honored to bring up our partner in this seminar here. The City of Corona works diligently with the business community, with the Chamber of Commerce, and today, Ashley Zaragoza, who is with the Economic Development Department, she's the administrator there, she's going to actually share some things that we're working on together. And anything that goes on within the city for businesses, this lady has the pulse right there. She knows everything that's going on. She helps you if you're looking to expand your business, or if you're looking for of a business that's looking to locate into Corona. Ashley would be a key person for you to have on your speed dial. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Ashley Zaragoza. So that was really, come on over. That was really weak. So Ashley is co-sponsoring today, and you got to come here for free, and you got to eat some nice calorie-free donuts. Please welcome Ashley.
Thank you so much, Bobby and everyone. Quite the way to start the Monday morning, right? Well, good morning, everyone. As Bobby said, we work in partnership with the Chamber of Commerce, and we're always very excited to be able to connect with the business community and let you know what's going on with the city and how you can get involved. And so one event in particular I wanted to highlight today, and you all should have a flyer, hopefully right in front of you. But there are 2 plans the city embarked on starting last year. One was the Downtown Revitalization Plan, and the other one is the Economic Development Strategic Plan. So this one, EDSEP for short, is the one we're discussing today, and we're really excited to bring together a presentation next week. We're really asking the business community. This is in partnership with the Chamber of Commerce and will be hosted here at the Chamber. Essentially, this would be a great opportunity to better understand the different goals and strategies that we're going to utilize for all of Corona. So I know I've come up here before and I see a lot of familiar faces where I'm here to talk about the downtown, but we want to look at Corona as a whole when we're looking at our business community, our residents, our visitors, all these different components, and what makes a strong economy here in the city of Corona. So we would really love your input, your presence at the event. So if you're available on May 17th from 3 to 4:30 p.m., we would like to personally invite you and see all these great faces, hopefully, once again. But we're very excited about this endeavor. And then for those who have been keeping a pulse on what's been going on with the downtown, we did have a meeting back in April, and we do have some project updates available on the coronacircle.com, and we will continue to provide updates on there, and that's the plan related to revitalizing the downtown specifically. So thank you, everyone, for your attention this morning, and we're going to let it go off back to Bobby, and thank you so much, everyone, for the warm welcome.
That was really good, by the way, when you guys got warmed up on applauding. So I did want to mention one last announcement regarding an event that we have coming up on May 26th. It is the Twilight Celebration, and I would encourage all of you to get your tickets for this. Prices do increase next week. We have a fun night planned. It's right after our golf tournament, and we know that it's been kind of an unusual couple of years, so what we decided to do is have a magician as well as a comedian come in. It's not just one comedian, now we've got two comedians that are going to be entertaining you and kind of being able to have some laughter and some enjoyment. So if you're interested, that is the Twilight Celebration, a night of comedy and magic, and we would encourage you to get your tickets today as the prices do increase next week. Pardon?
When is it?
Up on the top right-hand corner, Thursday, May 26th. But thank you, because I had to struggle looking for that as well, so you did very good. I do appreciate that. So with that, I would like to now introduce our keynote speaker, and he is our guest entrepreneur. I got to know Larry at a Rotary meeting that we hosted him, and he is the owner of Townsend TM Productions. He's most well known for developing the first trauma kit specific to gunshot and stabbing wounds. He has been involved in emergency medicine for many years. As he shared with us, typically people don't die from the gunshot wound or they don't die from a stabbing, but they die from bleeding out. And so what he's got is some great information that he has developed on how to save someone's life in the critical few moments right after that transpires. He has helped and trained hundreds of law enforcement individuals through various agencies, schools, and churches, basically how to save lives. So I'm going to bring him up here. I know you haven't heard him yet, but I want you to go wild and crazy as if this was your top movie star that's winning the Academy Awards, or if that's not of interest to you, that he is the best entrepreneur ever that you've heard. And I know you haven't heard him yet. Trust me, okay? Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome our entrepreneur for this month, Lary Townson.
Thanks a lot, Bobby.
Thank you, Larry.
See, can everybody hear me? Can you all hear me now?
Actually, it's best for the people on Facebook.
Oh, except for them.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Thank you.
Well, thank you very much. I appreciate it. Like I said, I just want to emphasize, I wear a couple hats. I own Townsend Production, my own company, but I'm also the director of the law enforcement division for a company called EMP, which stands for Emergency Medical Products, back east. And for over the past 35 years, I've been involved in emergency medicine. And most of those years was to set up paramedic equipment for paramedic fire departments and paramedic ambulance companies in most of Southern California and Clark County, Nevada, which is saying Las Vegas, Laughlin, basically, okay. And over those years, I've noticed a lot of times, I'm an EMT, and I would ride with my customers and help them a lot at, in certain things they're doing. But I noticed a lot of times that we couldn't get there quick enough if somebody is critically injured a lot of the times, and it could be a traffic collision, a lot of things. But I kind of focused in on gunshot wounds because at the time I was looking at this and thinking about something I'll come bring up a little later. There was a lot of police shootings going on. There was a lot of school shootings and church shootings that were going on. So I had an idea, and I went to Las Vegas because they had a law enforcement convention. And part of the reason I would key in on shootings too, before I get to that, is I'm from a family of an officer shot and killed. I'm from Riverside. I had a relative of the Riverside Police Department who was killed, and his partner, years ago. And that kind of, years later, kind of spurred how I got into emergency medicine. From being there after the fact, it's not pretty being in a family like that, with that situation. So anyway, so I had this idea. I went to Las Vegas, and I had a partner fly out, and there was about every law enforcement agency was there at the convention. Because I say, if there's a convention in Las Vegas, I don't care what industry you're in, you're going to go to that one. It doesn't matter. Right? So everybody was there from the NYPD to the LAPD and everybody in between. My partner and I asked a simple question. We said, if an officer gets shot, what's the protocol? What exactly do you guys do? They all came back and said exactly the same thing. They said, 1199 call goes out in the radio, which means officer down. Policemen are immediately dispatched to the scene, and so are paramedics. Well, we know that every law enforcement agency in the United States, that 99% of the time, officers are going to show up to the scene before the paramedics get there and an officer shot. They said, absolutely, that's true. 99% of the time, we'll be there first. We said, okay, let's say an officer's shot. Let's say 3 officers show up to the scene, and let's say 1 minute after they show up, 1 minute later, the ambulance, the paramedics get there. That 1 minute is going to seem like an eternity. It's going to seem like forever. So our next question was, since you get there first, have your officers been trained how to treat a gunshot wound and have equipment, let's say, in your patrol car to do it with? And believe it or not, there wasn't one law enforcement agency in the entire United States that had done that. Not one of them. So after the convention, I started a project, and what I did, I consulted with a lot of customers and people I've known over the years in emergency medicine. I consulted with the medical director of LA County. I consulted with Riverside Police Department, where my brother-in-law actually, who he was killed, with the Riverside Sheriff's Department, with the LAPD, and especially with Loma Linda University Medical Center. And the reason I consulted with them is my idea was to come up with a special kit for officers to treat a gunshot wound on themselves and their partners. So what we did after coming together, then I ended up developing the very first medical kit in the United States to treat a gunshot wound. And this is what it looks like here. It's just called the Law Enforcement Trauma Shooting Kit, kind of says it. And if you can see the FBI, these are thousands of FBI agents carry this all over the country. I just want to show you a couple of clients, kind of high-profile clients over the years. That's the FBI's. This is the United States Secret Service. I'll talk a little bit about them a little bit later. Then here's the version. This is the LAPDs. They all get their badge so screened. In fact, the LAPD is probably the largest account I've had over the years. They purchased over 20,000 of these for their officers over the years. And any of you that are from back east, here's the NYPD. And that was fun working with them. A great, great department back there. And anyway, those are just 4. Well, for a couple of years after I developed this, I traveled the country to set departments like this and others. And there's been hundreds of other departments like St. Louis and Birmingham, Alabama Police and Denver Police and it goes on and on and on all over in Las Vegas, all over the country. In fact, closer to home, every law enforcement agency in Riverside and San Bernardino County has purchased this kit one time or another over the years. Most officers in the state of California carry it, then don't in the entire state. So it's been a great project, to say the least, to be involved in. Well, what was interesting, those first 2 years I was traveling, talking to police departments, I started getting calls from the schools, because Columbine had happened not too long around that time. Well, we did a study of school shootings. We found one of the #1 cause of death in schools is a result of gunshot with weapons. Gunshot leads to pack, right? So what we did, we developed a version of this kit for schools. We really broke the mold. Instead of law enforcement, we just called it educational facility. Okay, and down here it has a Star of Life, like it's in an ambulance or fire engine. Down here it says Columbine High School. This is the actual kit that's at Columbine right now. They have about 45 of these. They're spread out all over the campus, kind of like fire extinguishers, okay? And since we developed this, they're now in hundreds of schools. They're in some of the Corona Norco schools, Riverside, Alvord, Harupa Valley, San Bernardino, Rialto Fontana. They're all over the place now. And the reason we called them education facility, that name, we wanted to encompass anything that has to do with education. So example, these are in every Riverside County library. So we say, okay, these are in hundreds of churches, because we figure if you're learning about God or ABCs in school, it's still education, right? In fact, are any of you here Catholic by any chance? Okay, these are in every Catholic church. And most, not all, but most every Catholic priest and ushers of every Catholic church has gone through a special training I'm going to talk about later on this kit, but these are on all the Catholic churches. These are in Harvest, the Grove, the Rock churches, have been in a lot of hundreds of churches, like I said. Well, after we developed this, we started thinking about everybody else. What about everybody else? So not law enforcement, of course, education. So we came up with the last version, which I think is the cleanest, just the firearms trauma shooting kit. Just kind of says it there. Okay. This is utilized by gun clubs, hundreds of gun club members. In fact, Anthony, in a gun club, I met you in a gun club. You took this class, okay? And hundreds of gun members own this kit. University Allied Barton Security Company, they purchased these over the years. South Coast Plaza, these are all over South Coast Plaza. I go there to look, I can't shop there, it's too much money, but these are spread out over South Coast Plaza. I was involved with training security many years ago, okay? And these are utilized by a lot of people, just individuals in general. In fact, for many years I've been doing training at Bass Pro for their customers over the years, and a lot of different types of organizations. Okay, but anyway, that's just it. Well, I just wanted to just show you quick the kits, what I've been involved with, but it's very, very important to know, especially today, with the violence that's going on. In fact, I'm going to give you an idea. You might know already. We all listen to the news, right? In the last 2.5, 3 years, we've had more violence in the United States than we've had 30 years. In fact, I was talking to Anthony just earlier today. I know the director of the Department of Justice in the state of California that's in charge of officer-involved shootings for the entire state. I was just talking to him last week. He said officer-involved shootings have gone up 600% in the last 2 years. He said it used to be 4 or 5 years ago or so, if the bad guy's out there, the police are chasing them, they give up, give them their gun. Now they just turn around and start shooting. It turns into a big shootout. They don't give their guns anymore. He said it's insane. Okay? Of course, he's totally behind this project we're doing. But anyway, there's just a lot of violence out there. Now, when a person gets shot, and it's a critical gunshot wound or stabbing, it basically, okay, a gunshot, stabbing, or even shrapnel from a bomb, it's a penetrating wound. See, it doesn't matter if it's a bullet, a knife, or shrapnel from a bomb, it's still a penetrating wound, okay? If anybody has a gunshot, stab wound, or shrapnel from a bomb and it's critical, there's basically only 7 reasons that they're gonna die. Do you guys have any idea? What do you think would be one of those 7 reasons a person could die if it's a critical gunshot or stabbing wound? Bleed to death, blood loss, right? That's one of the top reasons, but not the number 1 reason, believe it or not. It's not the number 1 reason. Shock, very good. Shock takes up 2 of those 7 reasons. A person can die from physiological shock and or psychological shock. Now, physiological shock is easy to take care of, and it's easy to learn how to do that. But psychological shock isn't that easy to take care of. In fact, it sounds funny now, but it wasn't funny at the time. The very first class or workshop, which I said I'll talk about a little later, that I taught how to use this kit in a high school. There was 30 faculty and staff. It was a big class. And I used to show a video from NBC, Channel 4 News, that did a story about what I'm doing. And I had my 15 minutes of fame back then. But anyway, so I showed this, so I turned around to shut off this video. And when I turned around, this teacher came into the class. Wait. Well, in our training that we do, we have a shooting. And it's realistic, very realistic. Well, everybody's warned, but this teacher that came in, I didn't see him come in when I turned around. They sat right next to the shooter. And what would happen, basically, the shooter would just jump up in the class and say, this is a bunch of baloney, and shoot somebody. And it looked very real. Well, the teacher that was late sat right next to the shooter. When the shooter jumped up and shot this person, the teacher let out a blood-curdling scream. All of us jumped. We didn't know what was going on. And we were in the music room at the high school, and there's bleachers for the choir. He leaped over the bleachers like a gazelle and ran to the back of the room, and we're like, what's going on? And some teacher yelled, he just came in, he had no idea what was going on. So we knew what was going on, so we all ran back. When he got back there, he was just shaking like a leaf. I mean, he was just like this. It took me a good minute to convince him that he's in a class on how to treat gunshot wounds. And he said, oh, I was told to hurry up, it was a class on insurance. That really woke him up. Well, that's part of shock. That gets into the psychological shock, and I'll tell you why. Okay, when the class was over, I was more inquisitive. I said, "What were you thinking?" He said, "I'll tell you exactly what I was thinking." He said, "I thought for a fact that this person got shot, for a fact, and I'm right in the middle of a school shooting right now." And because the shooter was sitting right next to me, I thought they were going to just take the gun and just shoot me because I'm sitting next to him. He could have dropped dead from psychological shock. A person can be scared to death, trigger a heart attack. And I say, thank God he didn't die, or I'd still be in court to this day, I'm sure. But anyway, now, there's a person who could die from psychological shock, and he wasn't even shot. This is how psychological shock kills a person that does get shot. Many years ago, I was talking with the California Department of Fish and Game Wardens in San Diego. And we're talking, I was showing them the kits and different things, and they said, oh, we had one of our fish and game wardens that was shot and killed about a year ago. I go, what happened? They said he was out in the middle of nowhere in San Diego, and there was 2 illegal hunters. So the illegal hunters were drunk and high on who knows what. They decided they didn't want to get a ticket, so they started shooting at the fish and game warden to take him out. Stupid. The fish and game warden got shot in the femoral artery of his right leg, which is a major life-threatening, bleed out kind of a situation, critical. He panicked, had no special training except a little first aid, kid from like Johnson Johnson. Nothing against John Johnson, but it's useless in that situation. He panicked, went into psychological shock. This is extremely common. And he started screaming and yelling and running around and around and around in a circle. Now, when you're shot and you go into psychological shock and start running around, you're really bleeding quick. When the authorities got there's a circle of blood, and he fell right in the middle of the circle. They figured he bled out within less than 2 minutes. That quick. Okay. Now, that's how psychological kills that way. Okay, so we've got bleed out, physiological, psychological shock. There's 4 other reasons. Have you got an idea of another one of those 4?
Lack of oxygen.
What's it? Okay, very good. Okay, there you go. That would be if I get shot here in the thoracic by my lung, I'm shot in the lungs. Okay, so if I'm not talking about the stomach, I'll show you right in the thoracic area where my lungs are. If I get shot here in the back, it's called an open sucking chest wound. There's closed and there's open. Okay, closed and is deadly, but open can be very, very deadly. Now, if you get shot from the side, it can hit both lungs, and what happens is your lungs collapse and you can't breathe within seconds, especially if it gets both lungs. So extremely deadly. In fact, that's one of the main reasons that officers wear bulletproof vests. Because they get shot anywhere around here. It's right up there with bleeding. It's very, very deadly cause of death. In fact, I was just talking to Anthony and Bob at the Las Vegas shooting. Most of the people that got shot there died because it was lung wounds. Actually, the hospital was running out of chest tubes in the hospital because the shooter, unfortunately, was a good shooter, a good shot, and he was aiming at center masses, which anybody that has a gun knows that's where you aim to shoot somebody, and that's where most people got shot at the concert. Okay, so you've got the open sucking chest wound, right? Okay, you said air. Okay, 3 more reasons. Anybody got an idea? One of the others. What's that?
Infection.
Very good. Most people miss that, right? What's called infection, and we put infection/complications, so we put the 2 together, basically. Okay? Now, I'll give you an example. The news will come out, and there'll be 5 people shot, and they'll have 2 of them pronounced dead at the scene, and another 1 or 2 die a few days later. It's because infection or complications caught up with them in the hospital. Right? 2 more reasons.
Spinal.
There you go.
Spinal cord.
Who's that?
Spinal cord.
Spinal. There. Okay, I'll give you that. What we call a vital organ. Okay. If I'm shot between the eyes, let's say with an AK-47 or some of the shotgun blows my heart out, that takes out my vital organ, right? There's no medical kit. No one on the planet Earth can save my life. Nothing can be done for that person. However, there's a psychological advantage to the person trying to help them, but the actual person themselves, they're dead. Nothing can be done for them. Okay? The last and 7th reason is what is the number 1 reason. And I'll give you a hint. I talked about it a few times already. Mentioned it. Anybody got an idea what you think that might be? Well, those who took the class, you can't answer this. Anybody know what the 7th and number 1 reason is? What do you think? It's what we call simply the time element. It's all about time. It's like, when you think about it, why do fire engines and ambulances and police cars have lights and sirens? They got to get there as soon as possible. It's all about time. Everything's about time. In fact, when someone has a critical gunshot or stabbing wound or shrapnel from a bomb, they have to be treated within 2 to 4 minutes if it's a critical wound. That quickly. Okay? And that was the reason that all this was developed. And this is the reason all those police departments and schools and churches all have these, because they have to do it. Do something immediately within those 2 to 4 minutes. Okay? In fact, talking on the time, someone's kind of interesting story here. Many years ago, I was driving down University Avenue, well, not that many years, driving down University Avenue in Riverside, going to UC Riverside. I've done a lot of trainings in colleges, universities. I trained Berkeley and the UC system, and I was going to UC Riverside to do some training there on how to use this kit to treat a gunshot wound. I got a call on my cell phone from Ian Ryfield, and that was the days when you could actually, I'll never forget, remember you could hold your cell phone and you could just drive? That was for those days, you could just drive, When I get this call, and he goes, is this Larry? And I go, yeah, who's this? He goes, my name's Ian. I go, okay. I go, and who are you? He goes, I'm the director of the Secret Service for the President's detail. So he's not the director of the Secret Service, but he's got a very high position. He's in charge of the president, first of all those, the ones running by the limousine. He's in charge of all of them. And I go, I'll never forget. I said, how'd you get my number? He says, well, we are the Secret Service. That's what he actually. He's a funny guy. That's exactly what he said. I go, yeah, I guess that makes sense. But anyway, that makes sense. So we start talking. He goes, he heard about that kid actually from the FBI. Is how he got my number and everything. But anyway, we were talking about what the protocol is if the president's being shot at. I can't believe I have this conversation with him. He's telling me the protocol if someone's shooting at the president. We kind of zeroed in on Reagan because all the protocols came into place when President Reagan was being shot at. He goes, the first protocol of the Secret Service presidency told, if the president's being shot at, we're to jump in front and try to protect him with their own body. And that's exactly what happened with Reagan, right? Secret Service jumped right in front, and he got shot that day, right in the front, okay? He says the second protocol is to get the president or any agent out of the line of fire. Just common sense. So what happened with Reagan? They immediately threw in the limousine, right? In fact, you remember when the agent jumped on top of him to kind of protect him when he jumped in the limousine? I met that agent a year ago. He lives in Palm Springs. Really, real nice guy. He's a real nice guy. Anyway, that's what he did. And then jump on him, okay? Get him out of the line of fire. Well, as soon as he jumped on him, they shut the door and they took off, right? Well, it happened in Washington. They were headed to the White House. Well, when they forced the guy, the Secret Service agent I met was one that forced him in. The shooter shot off a round that caught the president right in his side just before he went in the limousine. He didn't know he got shot. None of the agents knew he got shot. And when they took off towards the White House, President Reagan, within a few seconds, goes, boy, my side's really hurting. And he thought it was because the guy pushed him, the agent. Then he looked down, and they saw some blood, and they go, my God, he'd been shot. They immediately diverted to the third protocol, which is the president or agent gets shot, go to the closest hospital. So they, instead of going to the White House, they immediately diverted to the closest hospital. It was close. So Reagan was very lucky. And he was lucky because it went in the side, which can be very deadly, okay, it hit the lungs, but it was a closed chest wound, which is not as bad. And so it went and it stopped about 2 inches from his heart. And of course, the rest is history, right? Well, Ian told me that's the three protocols, basically. I said, oh, well, well, actually, you overlooked something. And right after I told him that, I thought, did I just tell the director of the Secret Service he doesn't know his job? Did I just say that to him? You overlooked something? And he goes, what? I said, Ian, you overlooked the time element. The time element. And so what we did is we ended up developing a kit for the President of the United States. This is what it looks like. Okay, the President gets a little one, everybody else gets the big one. But anyway, this has like belt loops, and the Secret Service agents carry this underneath their jackets. Okay? And so they all have them. They're all carrying them. Okay? So now with this, there's 4 protocols. First, surround the President with their own body. Second, get him out of the line of fire. Third, if he's shot, go to the nearest hospital. And fourth, while they're on the way to the hospital, treat the president or the agent as they're taking him to the hospital. Okay? It was funny, we developed this when G.W. Bush was president, and Dick Cheney was vice president. Or was he president? No, I know, they were Jewish. But anyway, in fact, what was funny is Ian actually showed this kit to Dick Cheney on Air Force 2 flying to Afghanistan. Okay? And he goes, what do you think of all the agents carrying this? Well, Dick Cheney said, oh, I think it's a great idea. Okay? Well, what's funny is the agents told Ian, you should have gave it to Dick Cheney. He shot his friend a couple months later. So that was kind of a funny thing about that. But anyway, those are the seven reasons, okay? And we put together a workshop that we call the Gunshot Wound Lifesavers Workshop, and it takes just a little over an hour to learn how to do that. I've trained thousands and thousands of people over there how to do it, okay? Now, I'm going to tell you how important, especially today, I was talking to Bob, it is to know this stuff. We all know about CPR, right? I bet you a lot of you are trained in CPR. CPR was developed because of one major reason, the time element. Right? So when a person, now normally there's about 800 to 900 people every day in the United States that have going to full cardiac arrest, which is a CPR candidate. This is in the hospital. This is out of the hospital, cardiac arrest. About 800 to 900 per day on average. Okay, they are CPR candidates. They did a study lately. They found there's about 500 to 600 people every day are shot or stabbed in the United States. It's getting to be like an epidemic. A lot of people are. And so we have millions of people trained about how to do CPR, which is great. Now we need to train, and that's what my focus is, and the people that are involved with putting this together, to train as many people in the United States as we can how to treat a gunshot wound, because that's the world we really live in. Okay. In fact, I got another question. How many of you have ever been shot at, or had a gun pulled on you? Okay. 6, 7 of you? Wow. Yeah, it's amazing. I've been shot at before, had guns pulled on me a few times. I was shot at in a casino in Vegas with some friends of mine. Just some guy came, just wasn't me. He came and started shooting everybody. He was right behind me. So shooting at me and my wife, everybody. It's amazing how much stuff goes on out there. There really is on a daily basis. Okay. Now, how many of you have ever had CPR performed on you, yourself? You had CPR performed on you? Okay. Glad it worked. Yeah. Nobody else, okay. Now, the reason I bring it up is because, like I said, a lot of people know CPR. A lot of people know this. But there's more people here that have been shot or had a gun pulled on them. Okay? I got another question. Anybody here own a gun? No, a lot of people are reluctant to say that. Yeah. In fact, I was at, it's funny, I did a talk at Arrowhead Rotary. You know, I do a lot of talks at Rotaries, that's how I know Bobby. But I was at Arrowhead Rotary, and they had about 25 people there. I go, how many of you? Everybody, I swear, raised. I go, God, I said, I'm not going to mess with you guys anymore. But I mean, everybody there had a gun. Okay. Let me ask you then, what's the number one reason that you have a gun? Now, there's a lot of reasons. People collect them, like my brother's a big gun. But what's the number one reason that people own a gun or you own a gun, let's say? Why? Protection, right, protection. And when you think about what does protection really mean? It means you want to be able to help save the life of yourself, your family, your friends, or the public if you have a CCW even, right? Okay. Well, what a lot of people don't realize is that you don't always win. Really. Maybe the person you're trying to take down, the shooter, is a better shot than you, or whatever, or has 2 or 3 of them you're trying to deal with. Okay. So if you end up in the process of trying to protect yourself, your family, your friends, whoever, and you get shot, or your family member gets shot, or your friend gets shot, what's the only thing you can do to help protect and therefore try to save their life? Is own one of these kits to know how to use it. That's it. There's nothing else on the planet Earth that you can use. In fact, I had an officer one time tell me, this kit with gunshot wounds is just like if you dealt with poisonous snakes all day long to have an antidote available. This is the antidote to a gunshot wound. It really, truly is. Okay? It's that important. So, that's the reason that I got involved in this, and it's just that the workshop we have, like I said, it's called the Gunshot Wound Lifesavers workshop. It takes a little over an hour. You learn how to treat a gunshot wound or stab wound on yourself or someone else. Okay? You get a certificate of completion, written instructions, and believe it or not, it's a fun class. How would it be fun learning how to treat gun? But it is kind of fun. Okay? So, and what we do is we only charge $20 a person to take this class. And we only have 5 minimum, 25 maximum per actual workshop. Okay? And we're doing a lot of training with this right now. So I just think today, it's been important for 100 years. In fact, just take school shootings. Did you know the first recorded school shooting was in 1765? There's been school shootings during the late 1700s, all during the 1800s, all during the 1900s, and obviously it's been going on for almost 300 years, school shooting. So it's nothing new. But I said lately, there's been a lot of violence, obviously, in the United States. So I just wanted to share, basically, put this together and what we're doing. And I think it's an important thing, and a lot of people are taking advantage of doing a workshop for their company or their organization. And I mean, go.
So I want to go ahead and get some questions going. I know there's a lot of you that are thinking of different things, because it is Coffee with the Entrepreneur. He gave his whole background of why he did it. So, taking lemons and making lemonade out of it, we so appreciate what you've done. From start to finish, well, who did you first talk with when you first decided to do this? And then talk about how you put your plan together, and then from the time you started, from the concept to actually getting the product, how long was it and what steps?
Oh, okay, very good. Okay. Yeah, like I said, I came up with the idea, and I went and consulted with a lot of people I mentioned earlier, and believe it or not, I got a lot of flack for some people. They go, well, police aren't going to want to talk about getting shot. I said, well, I'm going to make them think about getting shot. That's my goal. Okay. So by talking to all these other people, and I come in with the kit, having this version of it, and then no, I got to do this version, and no, let's do this, and then we come to the way it is now. But it wasn't an easy sell. You think it would be. It took 2.5 years to work with the LAPD before they decided to get it. 3 years with the New York Police Department. They didn't get it. They didn't understand it at first. It was like, we don't need anything like this.
So
Okay.
why did it, so your persistency.
Yeah,
that's
it's
a key
persistent,
thing.
absolutely persistence.
You saw this as a vision to do.
Right.
How often did you talk to them over the 2.5 years?
Oh, okay. We'll just focus on the LAPD because that's a good one. I had about probably 4 or 5 actual in-person meetings with the LAPD. I spoke with them on the phone at least a couple hundred times, okay? And in fact, I'll never forget the first time I called the LAPD, I said, I've got this product to say. They says, you don't have any idea how many people call us every day and want to sell us something. They hung up on me. First time I called them, you know. So is the persistence game. There's no question about it. And so I just kept going and going and going and going and meeting and meeting and meeting until finally one day, the chief finally goes, you know, this makes sense. And they bought 10,000 of them. And then they had a press conference. And I've done a lot of different press conferences in the day. Well, anyway, I'll never forget how the power of persistence is. When I went to the press conference, suit and tie, just before we went on, and all the TV stations were there, this gentleman came up to me with a suit and tie, and he goes, I want to shake your hand. I go, okay. So I shook his hand, and I go, I can't remember who are you? He goes, you might not remember. He goes, I was one of the first deputy chiefs you spoke to about 2 years ago or more. I go, oh yeah. He says, I want to thank you for not giving up on us. And I thought, boy, is that the power of persistence? I just had the LAPD thank me for not giving up on trying to convince them how important this kid is for their officers. You know? And I believe persistence is by far the #1 key. #1, by far. Just, if you believe in something, just never, ever, ever give up on it.
Dina?
And then repeat the question when you.
Oh.
What kind of time frame are you looking at in order to set up a training for like a group for like civil air patrol?
Oh, okay, to set up what time?
What time?
Yeah, well, you figure it's only a little over an hour, so it's pretty easy to set up something. Very, very easy. Like I would say no more than a week.
For planning, like.
For planning your own work, your own
Yes.
workshop?
Yes.
Yeah, I would say about a week at that. I mean, yeah, because it's only like a little over an hour, so it doesn't take that long. Right.
And,
Go ahead.
second question, part B. Would you say one of your goals is to get a kid into every home?
You want to know if one of my goals is to get these kids into every home? Absolutely, beyond a doubt. I believe in the world we live in today, every person in the United States needs this kid in their car. Absolutely. Absolutely.
I can envision like Cadillac or one of the high-end cars.
Right.
We'll start putting those in as a customer service.
Well, I know some of them have first aid. I think Mercedes didn't have their first aid kits, the first aid in a Mercedes, I believe, or something. Yeah.
Joe?
Yeah.
Yeah, could you share with us what's in a kit?
I'd have to shoot you first, Joe. Yeah. No. Yeah.
So I got a kit to save you.
Yeah. Okay. Let me get my. Hold on. Let me get my. No. Yeah. No problem. Okay. This. Okay. What's inside is really quite simple. There's 13 products. 13, the number 13. That's kind of. There's only 13 products in here. Okay. Now the reason there's 13 products is these 13 products will treat 6 of those 7 reasons. It won't treat one of them, which I think you know. Vital organ, right? But those are the 7 basic reasons the person died, but it will treat 6 of those reasons. And that's why this kit actually has saved thousands of lives already, all over the country. Okay, so that's why the products are in there. Now they're putting it for another reason. Well, first of all, to get everybody to agree on what should go in here was fun in itself. Okay, yeah, it was fun. But they're in here, they don't expire. Well, that's what's crazy because 2 years ago, the FDA made us put an expiration date on it. We're going, what? Well, the reason is there's some surgical pads in here, okay? Well, these pads are used in surgery in the hospital. The expiration date that's the date that they guarantee sterility to that date, all right? But even the manufacturers say it could last years after that, okay? But when you take that sterile product in a very thick Ziploc bag inside of a waterproof Cordura bag, germs aren't going to get on it. And besides that, treating a gunshot wound is not a sterile environment. You want things as close to sterile as possible, okay? So basically, they don't expire. I should say that. Basically, they don't, okay? And if it's ever used, it's replaced free for life. Whoever purchases these, if you ever use this, replace free for life.
So
Right.
Larry,
Yeah.
you've got 13 items.
Right.
Who all decided what items go in there?
I did eventually. Right. Well, I mean, because I consulted with, like, example, Mercy Air Helicopter has been a customer of mine for years. I consulted about 3 or 4 of their medical intensive care nurses on the helicopter. I said, I'm developing this kit for gunshot wounds. I had a basic idea. I said, what do you think? What would you add? What would you want? And they go, well, I think I'd do this. And I go, okay, and I make a note of it. Then I go to the medical director of LA County. What do you think? Oh, I would think I'd do this. Okay. And then I go, it's all that saying, actually in the Bible. Wisdom comes from a multitude of counselors, right?
Exactly.
And that's really, really true.
So again, as you are developing your business and you've got a plan to create something new, you got to go out to those experts and ask them those questions. We've got time for a couple more questions, so don't be shy.
Go ahead.
Rebecca?
How much, once it's opened and used, it's only one use, or can you use
It's just one use because of infectious control reasons.
And then how much is a kit?
$35 total.
And did you say that once they use it, they get replenished?
They replace for free the entire kit.
The entire kit.
Now, you can't use it because some kids, hurt his knee and fall off his bike. But if it's involved with actual life-threatening type of injury, even in a traffic collision, we actually have a Tampa FBI agent, was in a traffic collision in Tampa, Florida, 5-6 car pilot in the freeway. He just bumped his head, but he heard the lady screaming. He grabbed his kit and ran up, and this lady was pregnant and bleeding profusely. He saved her life with the kit. I have a letter on FBI letterhead framed. It's kind of cool. He wrote the whole story on FBI. It's real cool. Right, way cool. All right.
Tammy and then Joe.
You said something about a video. Is that like on your website?
Oh yeah, no, we don't have a video. No. Well, we actually originally did, believe it or not. When we developed this, Loma Linda Hospital spent thousands of dollars to produce a video that starts in the emergency department. A great video. The problem was it didn't work. It didn't work. You have to have in-person training to work. Just like if you had CPR training, you got the little mannequins. They don't make a video. You don't get CPR trained by watching the video. Same with this. It doesn't really work.
And what fact in your persistence really stuck to the wall? Finally.
What fact?
What fact? Boy, just stuck. I think that on a psychological level, I think when you're persistent like that with anything, eventually whoever you're talking to, if it's trying to get a job even somewhere, finally they realize this is really something serious, or this person wouldn't be coming to me constantly, and it's very important. So I just think if that's kind of answers it, it's just eventually they give in. In fact, I think a real quick story, real quick. I went to get a job one time years ago in a hospital. There was 145 people applied for this job in this hospital. I was one of the 145. Anyway, I kept going back and forth, calling the guy out in the head. I say, I'm ready to start. And I start with a big smile. He says, talk to HR, talk to HR. So finally I went back, finally he says, don't come back. I'm not hiring you. Don't come back here. You're bothering me. The next day I came in and said, hey, when do I start? With a big smile. The very next day, he says, you're hired right now. And I tell you why? Because it proved to him that I won the job more than the other 444 people wanted the job. They weren't that willing to be that persistent, and that's the key. It really is.
So Larry, without getting into your age, but when did you start this, and had you done other things?
When I was 15 years old. No, actually, no. I got into emergency medicine in the early to mid 80s, and then it wasn't until late about 1999, 2000, I came up with the idea, went to Vegas, and so in the early 2000s when I first came up with it, around that time. So it's been keep pretty busy. Of course, COVID shut me down like a lot of business, but now it's starting to get busy.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, let's give him a round of applause.
All right. Thank you.
So we're gonna be working with Larry to try and put together some of these seminars and stuff. After this is over with, please feel free to connect with Larry and chat with him a little bit more. Most importantly, though, I would like to, Larry, I need you back up here because I got to have Paul Binder come up and make a presentation too. Because one of our theme this year is creating jobs and building a stronger community. And while this is possibly, come on up, Paul Binder. While this coin possibly has a theme of creating jobs, but you're actually saving lives, and it's something very important. So.
Yes, there's nothing more job saving than saving somebody's life, right? Thank you. I just want to say how adorable you are. You are so funny and so humble. In none of your presentation did you talk about yourself and what was in it for you. It was all about the benefit that your product could bring, and that's just so inspirational. Thank
You think
you.
I'm funny? I'm at the Comedy Store. And, no,
Yeah, we need you. We should get him on Good Morning Corona or something to shake up people.
Thank you, Larry.
Thank you.
Thank you. And thank you, buddy. And so that was a good comedy thing. So embrace it. Go. All right. So just a final couple of comments that we'd like to just touch on. And again, thank you for being here today. On June 13th, Monday, June 13th, our next entrepreneur will be Lena Thomas with Corona Hardwood. Lena is, her family immigrated on over here years ago. Tremendous story and a great individual. You're going to get a lot from her, so please register early for that. Would like to remind all of you, if you have any needs for promoting your business in any fashion, you have Robert and you have Tammy here. Please connect with them. We're here to service you and to help grow your business. If your business is at the point where you're looking for new facilities or a relocation, Ashley is your contact person to work with there. And on behalf of the Chamber and the city, we just want to thank you all for being here today. God bless you all. Have a great day.